Hello. Hi friends, my name is Nilesh. In this video, we are going to see how to create multiple Terraform resources and how to reference them across one another. On this channel, in the earlier videos, we have seen how to set Terraform or how to install Terraform, how to use Homebrew to get started with Terraform. And then in the earlier video, we have seen how to create one of the most simple object or one of the most simple resource in Microsoft Azure, which is the resource group, which is like a container or a logical unit for placing other resources as a single unit. So in this video, we are going to extend that a little bit and we are going to create more than one resource, and then we will see how to reference them one another. So let's get started. The prerequisites for this video are similar to the last one, where we need to have the Terraform setup. We need to have Visual Studio Code. If you want, you can have the HashiCorp Terraform and Azure Terraform as the extensions installed for Visual Studio Code. Azure CLI configured and connected to our Microsoft Azure subscription so that Terraform can create resources when we run the different Terraform commands. So in this, we are going to see how to initialize the Azure provider, then we are going to plan for the resources, then we will apply, and finally we will also destroy this, but this step is optional. So let's get started by going on to the terminal and making sure that we have Terraform installed by using Terraform version command, and we see that we have the 1.9.4 CLI version of Terraform installed. Now let me head over to the Visual Studio Code and we are going to see what are the different resources we are going to create. Let's first start by creating the provider configuration, which is to connect the Terraform to Azure Resource Manager or Azure RM. And I had explained this part in the earlier video. If you want to know more about these settings, you can go and watch that video. There is one change in this particular recording that we are doing, or this particular video that I'm doing. In the earlier one, I had just one file for Terraform called main.tf, and to improve the maintainability of the Terraform code, I have separated it into multiple Terraform files or multiple TF files, which you can see. That is why we have the provider.tf, which has configuration only for the provider, and then individual resources like the resource group and the network related things, we will be putting them into different files. So this way it helps us to maintain the code for Terraform in individual files, and instead of having one file containing all the Terraform related code, we can modularize that for easier maintainability. So the resource group definition is exactly same as the last time. We are defining a resource using the Azure RM resource group module, and we are naming it as TFRG in this case. The TFRG is the name which is used within Terraform to reference to this particular resource group. The actual name of the resource group would be TF resource group, and the location for this is Australia Southeast. Next, we would create the network resources, where we are going to create a virtual network or VNet and put it inside this resource group, or the resource would be created as part of this resource group. So the concept is similar, or the process is similar. We use the resource section to define the Azure RM virtual resource or virtual network type of resource. We give a name for that, which is the cross-reference VNet. The address space or CIDR address is what we provide as 10.0.0.0 and then /16. And the location is the Australia Southeast, and the resource group name is TFRG. Same way, we also create a resource for the subnet, which will be part of the virtual network. So the VNet is like a parent, and inside that we can create multiple subnets, and we provide other attributes like the name, the resource group name, and the virtual network name and the address prefix for that particular subnet. Now let's go and have a look at the other commands. Like, let's start with the Terraform init, where we will initialize the provider for Microsoft Azure, which is the Azure RM. And here we are going to install the version 3.116 based on our configuration. Once we have this, then we can run the Terraform plan command to see what resources will be created. Now, if you look at our definition, we have three different files. One is the Terraform provider file, provider.tf. The other one is the resource group.tf, and then there is the network.tf. And Terraform is intelligent enough to know that there is a dependency between the resource group and the virtual network and the subnet. So that is why in the output we can see that Terraform will be first creating the resource group, and it knows how these resources are related to one another, and then it is going to create the subnet and the VNet. So this is one approach of creating this, where we are sort of hard coding these values like the location and the resource group. But if you have worked in the programming background, you know that hard coding is a bad practice. Now tomorrow, if I want to change the location of my resource group and my virtual network and the subnet, then I have to go and manually change this in all the places. Instead of doing this, Terraform offers us a better solution, which is to cross-reference these resources. And that is what I'm going to demonstrate in this particular section now. So let's go and make slight changes to our virtual network and the subnet part configuration. In the location, we can use this syntax to cross-reference the resource group, because we are dependent on the resource group when we create the virtual network. Instead of directly saying that we want to create the resource in Australia Southeast, I can refer to that particular resource, which is part of my Terraform definition or Terraform configuration. I use this with the Azure RM resource provider, and resource group is the type of resource. .rg is the logical name that we have specified in our resource group.tf definition, or it should be tfrg instead of the rg. So let's go and try this first, and we will see what happens. So in this, the location and the resource group name, instead of hard coding, I am referring it from the existing resource. So let's go and run the Terraform plan command here and see what happens. We get this reference to the undeclared resource error, because in our resource definition for the resource group, it's trying to refer to the location for a resource group named as .rg. And if we go back to our Terraform resource group definition, the logical name for that particular resource group is named as tfrg. So let's go and quickly update this to tfrg, and same thing over here for the resource, which is the subnet type. Let me save these changes, go back and run the Terraform plan. And this time we can see that it is creating these resources correctly, or it is giving us a plan that tfrg resource group would be created, and it would be linked to the tf subnet and also for the tf vnet. And in the vnet, again, when it comes to the network name, virtual network name, we are cross-referencing that using the tf vnet resource. This way we can reduce the hard coding of the values and the names, and when we change something, it makes it easier for us to change it in one place, and it would be impacted in all the other places without us having to go and replace every individual occurrence of that particular value. Now let's go and apply these changes. So the plan is done. The next step is to actually create those resources, and I'm going to use the auto approve flag here. In my earlier video, I had shown how to use the auto approve flag to destroy the resource, and I had talked about this, that we can use it also with the apply command. So when we use the auto approve, we don't get that confirmation message whether we want to create the resources or not. It will automatically go and apply those changes, and we can see that in the same order what the plan was showing us earlier, these resources have been created. Now if I go back to the Azure portal and we look under the resource groups, we will have this resource group created, which is the TF resource group. That was the name we had specified in our Terraform configuration file. And in that resource group, we have this cross-reference VNet. And if I go into the cross-reference VNet and look at the subnets, we can find the cross-reference subnet there. So with that, we can see that all those resources which we had specified in the Terraform file have been created as per our expectation. We can also run this command here, which is to look at those resources as from the TF state list or Terraform state list. If we run this command, it will list all the objects that have been created and which are part of the Terraform state file, which gets created when we run the Terraform apply command. We can do a quick update here and see. Now let's say I want to go back, and in my Terraform resource group here, I want to change the name of this TF resource group to TF resource group 03. If I go and run the Terraform plan command here, let's see what happens. So in the output, we can see that the resource group will be replaced because we changed the name of the resource from TF resource group to TF resource group 3. And because this resource group name has changed, it also has the cascading impact on the subnet and the VNet definition as well, which are referring to that particular resource group. So let's go and apply this now with auto approve. And in the output, we can see that these resources have been replaced. Now, if we go back to the Azure portal and we try to look for the TF resource group, it is still showing us the old one. Let's go back to the home. Looks like this output is cached. And if I hit the TF resource group or try to access it, we get this error here where it says resource group not found. And let's refresh this again. And let's go into the resource group because it was the recent ones that we were looking at. Let's go on to the second page, and here we can see the TF resource group 03 has been created, which is what we specified in the updated name of the resource group. So with that, we can see that using the cross-referencing, it is easier to make the change in one place and apply that change across multiple resources. Finally, if we want, we can go ahead and destroy these as well using the Terraform destroy command with auto approve flag, which will destroy all the infrastructure that we created using the Terraform files. So let's switch back to the presentation mode here and do a quick recap of what we achieved to do in this short video. We initialized the Azure Resource Manager provider or Azure RM provider as part of the Terraform init command. Then we planned for the resources, which was the resource group, the VNet or virtual network, and then within that virtual network, we created a subnet, and then we applied the actual changes, or we applied Terraform plan to the Azure portal or Azure subscription to create those resources in our Azure subscription. And finally, we use the destroy command to destroy those resources. With the help of cross-referencing, we also saw that it is easier to make the changes in one place, and it is then translated, or those are applied to all the resources. So I hope that you found this useful. If you want to refer to any of these additional resources and you want to know more about the Azure Resource Manager, how to create the resource group with additional attributes, and also the virtual network, you can refer to these links what I've shown on this slide. And we will continue with Terraform in the subsequent videos where we will look at other capabilities of Terraform. I hope you found it useful. If you like this video, please hit the like button and subscribe to my channel. And do let me know in the comments what other videos you would like to see on this particular channel. Thanks for watching this. Until next time, code with passion and strive for excellence.